بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين صلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. What was recited in the first rak'ah was both from the chapter Al-Ghafir or Al-Mu'min, some of the scholars call it. Al-Ghafir means the one of the names of Allah being all-forgiving. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions here when he says after الَّذِينَ يُلْحِدُونَ فِي آيَاتِ اللَّهِ بِغَيْرِ سلطان أتاهم كبر مقتا عند الله وعند الذين آمنوا كذلك يطبع الله على كل قلب متكبر جبار. When he says الذين يلحدون في آيات الله بغير سلطان أتاهم كبر مقتا عند الله, those that disbelieve or do ilhad, yulhiduna means yanharifun, means that they lean to the right or to the left. Ayatillah, in the verses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, بِغَيْرِ سُلْطَانٍ أَتَاهُمْ, without any authority that has come to them, then Allah's anger will be, the wrath will be upon them. كَبُرَ مَقَّةً عِنْدَ اللَّهِ وَعِنْدَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. The maqat can be that which is the anger, and it can be, the revenge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That maqatan will be from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and from the ones that believe. Meaning the anger will be from the ones that believe as well, because those that divert from the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, knowing that is the worst thing. The worst thing is to have ilhad, and ilhad is a level of disbelief as we talked about, but if you were to translate it into modern language, ilhad could be that which is atheism, right? To not believe in any God whatsoever. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, كَذَلِكَ يَطْبَعُ اللَّهُ عَلَى كُلِّ قَلْبٍ مُتَكَبِّرٍ جَبَّارٍ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does taba', and taba' is like to stamp or to place onto something. Allah puts that on the heart of the mutakabbir, the one that is arrogant, and the one that is jabbar, the one that is someone that tries to overpower someone else. And jabr can be that which one that puts force on someone else. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is showing here the one that has the disbelief voluntary. And then he mentions after that the one that has arrogance. The one that has arrogance or is forceful upon someone else, thinking that they are greater. This is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dislikes. So the first thing he says is the one that has ilhad, the disbelief or the denying of the truth, can bring the maqt of Allah. الَّذِينَ يُجَادِلُونَ فِي آيَاتِ اللَّهِ الَّذِينَ يُلْحِدُونَ فِي آيَاتِ اللَّهِ بالله. I think it's الَّذِينَ يُلْحِدُونَ فِي آيَاتِ اللَّهِ بِغَيْرِ سُلْطَانٍ الَّذِينَ يُجَادِلُونَ فِي آيَاتِ. نعم. Where's يُلْحِدُونَ? Well, جزاك الله خير. If he said it in the beginning, I said الَّذِينَ يُلْحِدُونَ فِي. يُلْحِدُونَ to mean al-had, but then he said I think it's الَّذِينَ يُجَادِلُونَ فِي. Ghafir. And yujadiluna can be those that argue, those that dispute concerning the verses of Allah. Jazakallah khair. So he made a correction, he corrected me, Jazakallah khair. It's alladhina yujadiluna fi ayati llahi bighayri sultani atahum. Now there is a similarity, but the word it's irrelevant. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says yujadilun, those that argue concerning the verses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They have argument with someone, because mujadala is to argue without any authority that comes to them. So this could be the one that argues with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's verses and his signs, and they have no proof for it. And that's what I forgot to mention earlier even. بِغَيْرِ سُلْطَانٍ أَتَاهُمْ, which is very important as well. Whether it's someone that disbelieves in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with no substantial proof, or the one that based on that disbelief they argue with no substantial proof, this is where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's wrath or anger can come upon them. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala concludes that by saying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts a stamp on the heart for the one that is a mutakabbir jabbar. This is important in conclusion for us to realize that whenever we want to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or the one that does disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there are levels. There are people that may disobey Him and they try to substantiate their disbelief. They try to substantiate their argument. So if we take it on a much lower scale or smaller scale, those of us that may argue in regards to disobeying Allah, and we've seen this with people probably in our families and sometimes even ourselves, that's where the jihad and nafs comes into play. Someone that may say, you know what, I don't have to pray 5 times a day. It is 2022. I don't have to pray. Times are different. And there's nothing that substantiates that claim. Because when we talk about the deen of Allah, it is the deen of Allah. It is not our deen. We need the deen to be better people. And the deen is supported through the Quran and the Sunnah, the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the actualization of the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala being the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the one that does dispute, that can be a sign, and that's what I wanted to mention earlier, even about ilhad, but it's in this verse, it's mujadala. The one that argues with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah says at the very end, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts taba'. He stamps their heart for anyone that has takabbur and I think they would say jabbariyah. The one that has takabbur, the one that has arrogance, and the one that tries to overpower. So it's very important for us to be those that are humble to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and do not allow any form of kibr, any form of arrogance, any form of knowledge that we may have that may be correct to overpower people or to try to have some level of unauthorized authority over them or to transgress the bounds. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of those that have humility and allow this humility to be shown in our actions, and to be of those that when we are wrong, we say that we are wrong, and when we are right, we praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that, not accepting any appreciation from anyone bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار اللهم اجعلنا من أهل القرآن يا رب العالمين اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار اللهم اجعلنا من المتواضعين يا رب العالمين اللهم زدنا علما وعملا يا رب العالمين اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.